Okay, Sarah Jean, we're going to let the room fill for a minute.
Okay, perfect.
And as people are joining, I'm going to ask you the question we were just talking about, which is it ever not scary to hit the broadcast button?
No, it's always scary. Honestly, I feel like after almost 5 years of streaming, I'm getting a little bit better at it, but there are definitely still days where I feel just the sheer amount of anxiety, and I usually have a routine right before I start streaming. It is making coffee, which ironically makes you even more anxious, but but I always kind of like to take the time to make the coffee to calm myself down. This is why I'm almost never on time for my stream. People think I'm making excuses for it, but sometimes you just need to kind of like take a deep breath and let everything settle and hit the live button. And yeah.
Is it the routine of the coffee making that is the calming, or is it the actual coffee that calms you?
It's the routine of making it. Because after drinking coffee, I get even more anxious. So I don't think it's helping me, really.
I feel like I overshot my coffee now that we're going to start this webinar. All right,
Oh
the
no.
room the room is filled.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect. Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
So welcome everybody to another Wacom webinar. We host Wacom webinars every Tuesday and Thursday at noon. Today's Wacom webinar is part one of a two-part series. So we have today's, which is Tuesday, and then Thursday we have one of our favorite artists, Sarajean Chung, with us for a second webinar, and both are about streaming your art on Twitch. So Sarah Jean, you may have met her in the Wacom booth at any one of a number of our trade shows last year when we were all still traveling, and we missed her so much that we needed to ask her back today to talk to us about one thing that she is an expert in. She's an expert in many things, including Clip Studio Paint, but one of them is streaming your art on Twitch. Next slide, Peter. So I am Melissa, and I am your host today. I work here at Wacom. Wacom, if you're not familiar with us, which most of you are, we make pen input devices, which is sort of a formal way of saying we make things that you can draw digitally with. So this webinar will be about 1 hour. We hope that you will let us reserve the last 10 minutes for Q&A. We will take questions in the Q&A section. We are not going to do any hand raising. Questions that come into chat, we'll do our best to write answers to, but we will save the last 10 minutes for Sarah Jean to actually ask or answer questions herself. So not all of the questions will be answered if there are a lot of them. If you do need answers, we'll do our best to answer them in an upcoming blog post or some other ways we can share answers to questions. So without further ado, we will welcome Sarah Jean. If you want to follow her, or if you're not already, you can find her. She's the one with Bear across all kinds of social media platforms. Her main social media platform is Twitch, and that's where you can find her almost every day sharing her art process. So as a thank you from Wacom, we'll share this slide one more time. These are a couple of discounts you can get on Wacom products, one from B&H here in the US. And then if you're in Canada, like Sarah Jean is, we do have a deal at Best Buy where you can purchase a Wacom One and receive a free digital download of Corel Painter. All right, Sarah Jean, that's all I have. Are you ready?
Yep. Thank you so much.
Let's do it.
Thank you. Let me share my face with you all. Hello. How are you? Okay, get that out of the way. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Melissa, for that lovely intro, and also for chatting with me a little bit prior to we start. That does helped me ease my nerve a little bit. Even though I've been live streaming for a very long time, but it still makes me nervous all the time to sit in front of an audience, especially in a context like this where I have to talk about my process of streaming. But welcome everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I am the One with Bear. I also, my name is Sarajean. I go by the One with Bear on all social medias, and I have been streaming for almost 5 years. It's kind of crazy to really think about it, but oddly enough, my art career actually completely kickstarted on Twitch. So that's a bit of an experience that I wish to share with you more in the next session. So today's session, I am going to talk about how to set up your art stream if you want to get into art streaming, which is honestly one of the best way to build a community to connect with your audience in this era, basically. And so it's something that I really recommend people to get into, but at the same time, it's not exactly an easy learning curve. I mean, I still kind of feel like after 5 years, I have no idea really what I'm doing, but it's a really great learning experience, and it does have some kind of curve getting into it. So that's what I want to go over today is your hardware, your software, how to design your overlay, but actually the experience of being a streamer will be covered in the next session, which will be happening on Thursday. So without further ado, let's get started. If you want to start streaming, very first thing that you need to have is internet. Internet, I cannot stress how important it is to have good internet to be able to stream. Honestly, this isn't me trying to gatekeep everybody, anybody. It's really just that nothing is more frustrating than you having everything set up, everything looks like it's great, it's all beautifully designed, and you have people waiting for you, and your internet, like, you get rated, you get hosted, you have a good concurrent number going, and then your internet just decides to not work. So having solid internet is really important, depending on how fast, well, depending on the bit rate that you are going for. Like if you want a higher quality stream, like 1080p stream, or just, you know, high definition basically, I generally recommend having at least 3 to 5 megabytes upload speed. A lot of people have solid download speed, but they don't really have super stable upload speed. So that is the one that you have to really look into. I highly recommend, if you can, do your best to wire your internet connection instead of using Wi-Fi and having to rely on router, because routers, honestly, it's just, I've seen so many headaches of streamers trying to deal with them. So generally, if you can, obviously it's not required, but if you can, go for a wired. You can test before you kind of really want to invest your time and also effort and money into stream equipment. I recommend testing out your internet first on inspector.twitch.tv. You can see, oh my God, I pointed the right. I usually go really disoriented. So you can, the link is over there. Go to that link and just let the stream test run for a few hours. Like, just let it sit there for 3 to 5 hours, because that's usually how long a stream will run, and see if your internet connection is interrupted, you know, on a regular basis. If it's not, and you know, you test it a few times, it's always in good speed, then you're good to go. So I would talk a little bit more about my setup. I have a Blue Yeti Nano for my mic. it wasn't always this way. When I first started streaming, I had no concept, zero concept with streaming and Twitch equipment. So back then I was actually using the mic that was in my webcam. And I was very happy with it, because I didn't really know any better, right? So so this is another thing about stream equipment. I highly recommend not being too worried about the quality of your equipment initially, simply because you don't even know if you're going to enjoy streaming or not. Not everybody can be a streamer. That this is basically also kind of a job. Everybody, it's kind of like whether or not you feel like you want to be an artist. Like being an artist and being a streamer are kind of a different thing. So you may really enjoy creating art, you may not actually enjoy the process of streaming. So initially, to test out the water, to kind of get yourself accustomed to everything, there's no need to invest in really good equipment. You can always let that roll in afterward, or have the community help you to build a better environment. But yeah, my mic right now, it's the Blue Yeti Nano, which I really like. I might upgrade in the future because it's a little too sensitive to my liking. But my monitors, I have dual monitors plus a Cintiq. I'll show you an image of my setup in the next few slides. But basically, it is recommended if you want to live stream to have 2 monitors. Right now I have all 3 turned on, like the dual monitors plus my Cintiq. It is not necessary to have many monitors for live streaming, especially when you're just starting out, but it's nice to have 2, especially if you do digital art, so you can have one on your Wacom tablets, or if you have the Intuos, then you can have your software on one screen, and then all of your other stuff like your OBS, your Twitch chat, and in another screen. It's a little bit easier to navigate that way. It is totally doable with just one screen. That's what I had when I first started out, but it's just a little cramped and a little bit harder to design. The next part is cameras. I have the Microsoft LiveCam Studio for my face. So right now you're looking at me through Microsoft LiveCam Studio, and I use Logitech C920 for my art, which was given to me by another really lovely artist called Sarah Burns, and she had no use for it, so she actually sent that to me all the way from Toronto. She's lovely. And so basically, it's also kind of a webcam, which I'm looking to upgrade one day. But for my use, for my type of art, it's actually quite good enough. I usually do traditional art in a smaller scale. So the webcam is more than enough. If you are wishing to do larger scale art, like oil painting, acrylic painting, big watercolor slides, then it can be a little bit, then you might want to invest in a better camera, basically. Okay, so streaming hardware. My PC build, I have Ryzen 2700. My GPU is 1070, and I have 16 gig RAM. The tablet that I'm using is the Wacom Cintiq Pro 24, which is mounted on the flex arm. You will see that in the next slide. I absolutely love that thing. My lighting is the studio lights. I have 2 lights right in front of me. This is actually my main room light. I don't just turn these on for streaming because I literally need them for lighting. The room light above, it's not enough. It's so dim that I actually can't use it. Plus, because it comes from above, so whenever I turn it on and have my head down and painting in traditional art, my head, the shadow of my head actually kind of just hover over the entire piece of art. So yeah, so basically I don't turn that on. I just use my studio lights as my regular lighting. I have a ring light for my traditional art, which I will show in just a bit. I will go a little bit more into the PC setup. So you don't actually need, I would say for streaming, the core thing that you need to have is actually your CPU. It's quite intensive on your CPU. However, before I upgraded to the Ryzen 2700, which is a 2018 card, I was on i5. I don't even remember the rest of the spec, but it was an Intel i5 card. So it ran just fine. The reason I upgraded my my CPU and also my GPU to this state is actually because I wanted to stream some PC games. So if you're not streaming PC games, if you don't need to play something that's a little intensive like Monster Hunter, that's the game that I wanted to stream. That is why I upgraded my CPU and GPU just for doing that. If you don't need to do that and you just want to stream your art, it's actually not that intensive. You don't need a great GPU, you don't need great CPU. I do recommend having like 16 gig RAM is more than enough for your setup. But I kind of wouldn't also go lower, but that's just me. So if you're worried about your PC setup, just know that it's not really all that intensive for our streaming purpose. Now, if you want to stream game, that's something else. All right, so this is my setup. Here, let me click on it. So my my 3 monitors, 2 of my monitors are for usually just for my regular use. Like when I'm not working, then I just use these 2 monitors. My Cintiq is so it's such a nice equipment that I sometimes like, I don't want to burn it out, so I would have that turned off unless I am streaming and working and painting, of course. So these are the 2 studio lights that I have. I have a big window in front of my monitors. My switch over there, my slime, so my decorations over there. This is the little camera that I have for my face. This is the camera for art, for traditional art. So I have 2 setup, 1 digital setup, 1 traditional setup. So the traditional station is over here, and then the digital station is over there. And this is the ring light that I spoke of. Whenever I stream traditional art, I would have that turned on. But you can actually see my actual setup in this way. So for my digital setup, I have my Cintiq pulled all the way out because it's mounted on that flex arm, which is such a lifesaver because in order to do these 2 types of setups, I need to constantly move my Cintiq. So for digital, I pulled it all the way out and towards me so that I can paint on it. I'll have my keyboard there for shortcut. That is going to be my OBS in my chat room, and also my notifications on there. Now, honestly, this particular monitor, this is why I said you don't actually need 3 monitors, because even with this one turned off, I can just move these 2 to this screen. It's not super essential to have your dashboard and your bot enabled all the time. So this is my digital setup, and also my mic over here. And this is my traditional setup. So as you can see, I pushed back my Cintiq all the way to the back of that table, like compared to the last one where it's pulled out towards me to work on. This one is pushed all the way back. I changed my rotation from facing the window to facing the closet. That's my ring light that will provide a lot more lighting for my traditional art station. And that's the art camera that I have. It's the Logitech C920. It's mounted on a little stand that my lovely mod got for me as a present. So like I said, I kind of just have everything. If you're a traditional artist, then you simply only really need 2 monitors, because you can, or even just 1 monitor, it will be fine. I have my OBS a lot larger so that I can preview my art a little bit easier from a distance, because that's usually really important for traditional artists, is to kind of zoom out yourself and look at the stuff. So I would have that on my screen that I can kind of constantly look at. And my little camera would move from the window to over here, so that you're not seeing the side of my head. All right. So next part, we're going to talk about the several platforms that you can choose to live stream your art. Now, today's focus is going to be on Twitch, because that's where I stream. However, I did do a ton of different research on streaming platforms, so I can kind of give you a heads up about the pros and cons of the platform that you're choosing. Right now, many of them are really simple. Once you have everything set up on your OBS, you basically just choose which platform you want to stream to, you link it to that, and then you go. So it's not super complicated. It's pretty much kind of the same depending on which platform you want. The problem is the platforms themselves. Okay, so the pros to Twitch is that Twitch is the leading streaming platform right now across all of them. It started in 2011. Before that, it was called Justin TV, but it started as a live streaming platform. And I think that affects it because all of the audience that goes on Twitch, they're expecting live content. That's what they're looking for. That's their mindset. They're there to hang out. Like you're not going to go on Twitch to try and find other types of content. So it's not convoluted in that sense. It is a very advanced platform for streaming because that's all it's been doing. Like that's its focus. You know, all of the money is poured into developing it as a streaming platform. You know, so to making it stable, basically. It is the easiest way to monetize, including subscription, gift subs, bits, and also third parties such as donations, direct donations to your PayPal, which we will get into a little bit later on. One of the biggest thing about it being easy to monetize is actually not in the sense that it has these options included. It's even more so that it's the mindset of the audience. Like people, there is a donation culture on Twitch. So it's a way that people kind of hype up a stream. It's by donating, like bits train, sub train, et cetera, et cetera. So people already have that mindset. So they kind of just have the easiest way to channel that. But honestly, user base already expecting live content and also having this type of mindset towards supporting streamers, it is one of the reasons why Twitch is such a great platform to start your streaming career. Another thing is, because it's a live streaming platform, you basically start from zero. You don't need to build your content. You don't need to build your following based on other types of content. You kind of just go there, start streaming, and hope for the best. That being said, that leads to the cons. It's very highly competitive because, you know, to start streaming, it's really just a click of a button. Everybody, once you learn how to set up, it's just a click of a button to start streaming. And because Twitch being one of the easiest ways to, start gathering that, start building that community, it is highly competitive. It gets even more and more and more competitive every year. I started streaming at the end of 2015. The back then we call it the Twitch Creative. There was a section called Twitch Creative, which is like a little hidden corner in the vast sea of Twitch, which is gamer focused. But basically, I remember back then it was just so tiny, and if people could have like 50 concurrent viewers, like that was huge for us. And I remember one time I was just so thrilled because I had like 20 people in my chat, and they stayed until the end. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And now things have changed so much, and it's far easier to gather that amount of attention, but at the same time, you're also competing with a ton of other streamers. The high learning curve is more relating to the setup, the building of your community. Like, you have to learn OBS, you have to learn the bots, you have to learn how to design your channel, learn how to design your own emails. Like, there are so many ways to customize your environment. So that takes a lot of time to kind of invest into. Entertainment focused is a huge thing. This is something that I will touch more on in the next session as well. But Twitch overall is a platform designed for entertainment. It is not particularly art focused. It can be used for art, but more or less there is a lot of hyping. There is a lot of like positive environment, like making sure that people are having fun, that kind of stuff that kind of gets fueled or combined or basically fused into your art journey as well. But like I said, this is something that we're gonna touch more on in the next session, because this can both be a blessing and a curse. Next up is YouTube. YouTube has had a live streaming service since 2011. Like, YouTube has been around forever, right? But they started the live streaming portion of YouTube since 2011, which is funny because that's the year that Twitch started as well. So they were, I believe they kind of started that to counter Twitch, but because Twitch had no baggage, it just focused on streaming, whereas YouTube, they still, the way that people look at YouTube is that they still go there for VOD content, for uploaded content, for edited videos, right? So even though they started at the same time, YouTube kind of struggled separating themselves from that. Another thing is that because I suppose their budget or their attention is divided. So even up until this day, YouTube live streaming is not as stable as Twitch. That being said, YouTube has a massive amount of user base compared to Twitch. If you're able to kind of get kickstarted with a following on YouTube, you may actually gather a lot more viewers on YouTube compared to Twitch. It also has monetization just like Twitch. They're actually quite similar to each other. It's just called differently. So they have Super Chat, which is kind of equivalent to bits, which is like a platform exclusive currency. So you buy their currency and then you you donate this currency to the streamer, which then they can cash out as cash. The sponsor is equivalent to subscription on Twitch. And also third parties such as PayPal, Patreon, and stuff like that. Their live streaming, YouTube live streaming is catching more and more attention. It is growing quite well. That's simply because I feel like once they've been kind of added the monetization and try to improve the interface a bit more, people start to kind of gear towards it. There's always a push and pull with companies, right? Like if Twitch does something that mess up, people want to flock to YouTube. And if YouTube messes something up, people flock to Twitch. It's just kind of, you know, always doing that. So YouTube is indeed catching a lot of attention. A lot of their live streams are doing well. Now the cons, as mentioned before, because YouTube relies so heavily on the videos on demand content, that they still have a very hard time separating themselves. So, and also it is very difficult to find live content to your liking on YouTube, whereas everything on Twitch is like really clearly categorized. So if you are looking for a particular thing, you are going to search up live streaming content. Whereas YouTube, once you use the search button, it's like everything is kind of mixed together. And so that because the majority of that user base is still looking for edited videos, that is a little bit difficult for them to kind of switch into that mindset of, okay, today I feel like I want to watch live streaming, or I want to look for a live streamer. And therefore this leads to the issue that you more or less would have to build an audience that is interested in your videos, uploaded videos first, and then you live stream to these people. So it's a little bit of a different mindset. If you already have a ton of YouTube subscribers, then YouTube subscribers, then it may be beneficial, far more beneficial to you if you live stream on YouTube. But if you don't have any subscribers on YouTube, then it might be more beneficial for you to tackle Twitch. It just kind of depends. And even though the next point is changing slightly, the user base mostly do still, you know, they're used to having free access to all of the content, and all they have to do is watch like an ad to get you paid. But because of that, the monetization culture is not quite there yet compared to Twitch. It's still there, but and they're kind of slowly changing, but it's not as heavily implemented as Twitch. The next one is Mixer. I honestly don't know why I'm talking about Mixer, but I still want to mention it. So Microsoft has their streaming platform called Mixer. If you guys have watched you know, live streams, or you know, gamers mainly, so Ninja and Shroud went to Mixer a while ago. I don't know if they're still there, but they were kind of just paid by Microsoft to stream on Mixer instead. I looked into this platform because a lot of people, they were unhappy with Twitch or the direction that Twitch was going, so they wanted to try out Mixer. So I looked into the platform, and honestly, their interface is really sleek, and everything that Twitch has, they basically also have. So as a streaming platform, they are actually quite advanced. I'm very pleased to observe that. The problem is they are so small that it's so difficult to gain traction on there, because like from me observing them for a few times, there are not a ton of people streaming there with their art. therefore, it is a lot less competition. But the problem is not many people watching art. So there is barely any viewership in the art streams, unfortunately. There is a creative category, and the one that I saw that had the highest number, she had about 100 viewers, 100 concurrent viewers. She was drawing a Pokemon in MS Paint. And then I looked into her info. I realized she is a gamer. Like, she is an established gamer. She just happens to want to do art stream. So that's why she had that many viewers. The rest of them who were doing actual like art streams, or, you know, artists, they wanting to stream their art, I should say. I feel like that's a little rude to disregard MS Paint art as art, because I do that too. But basically, the rest of them couldn't have more than 10 viewers, and that is a little bit harsh in terms of, you know, like, you putting all that much time, but then it's a little bit harder to gain traction due to not many people looking for that content on that platform. So I would still recommend, if you do want to stream your content, try out Twitch first. And then if you're really not happy with the environment, then try other platforms as well. Okay, next up, Instagram. Instagram is actually super interesting. I actually really like Instagram Live. It has no learning curve. If you want to just start practicing engaging with your audience, you want to practice talking to a chat or talking about your drawing process, Instagram is actually a great way to start, because there's no learning curve. You don't have to set up anything really. You just need to have a phone, right? Like a phone that can use Instagram. You may want to have a phone mount and then just mount it over your art, and pretty much that's it. Like, you hit the live button and you go. So it is very casual. I feel like if you really kind of want to practice getting into a groove of things, Instagram might be a great way to start. The cause is that this is the same, you rely on existing followers. Like, it's very difficult to discover live content if you have no follower base. And also, it caps at 1 hour. So once it reaches the 1 hour mark, it basically shuts down and then you have to restart. There's no way to monetize it. So you just, basically you're just there to share your content. You can't really monetize unless you're using third-party sources like Ko-fi or Patreon or stuff like that. It is extremely difficult to navigate the chat. Honestly, I wouldn't really bother navigating the chat. Like, I appreciate people like try to engage with the streamer or the artist, but it was just so difficult, even as a viewer, to want to see what already scrolled up. So yeah, it's not really a place for a ton of engagement, from my experience. Next up is Facebook. I wrote that kind of as a joke, but also a little bit not really. I think Facebook is actually a great platform for corporations and for big companies, but for independent artists, for freelancers, I really just recommend you to prioritize every other platform before Facebook, because first of all, from a viewer's perspective, I literally have no idea where to find live content if I'm not already following this person. So I have to follow this person for whatever that they're doing, and then I can, when they go live, then I see it. That being said, they do have a live stream category, but it's on a completely separate page from Facebook. So if you go from like your Facebook homepage to like the live content, it's a different thing than their live stream page. So, so as like an independent artist or a freelancer, I don't recommend it simply because it's just not intuitive to navigate as a viewer. I do think that they are also gaining traction. They have been growing rapidly as well, but you know, I still feel like you can just try Twitch. Probably. But yeah, if you ever choose, by the way, I'm very open-minded. I feel like I'm very open-minded when it comes to stuff like this. If you want to try Facebook and you think it's really fantastic, please let me know why. Like I'm really willing to learn. All right, software. So streaming software, I personally use Streamlab OBS. You can, I actually will show you. Oh, never mind, I can drag this in. So Streamlab OBS, really easy to search up, but there are OBS and also Streamlab OBS. So two different things. Streamlab OBS is the one that combines OBS itself with a bot. I highly recommend using this one if you're on a PC because it just does everything in the same bot. You don't have to deal with other stuff. You just use this one thing. OBS, on the other hand, does not have the bot functionality, but it is available on Mac. So if you're a Mac user, then you can only use OBS. If you're a PC user, go with Streamlab OBS. There are other ones, but we're not gonna really go into them because they're not as widely used. XSplit is one of them, but they also kind of rolled out paid functionality that just kind of land them in the same place as what Streamlab OBS can do, which is free. So just use that one. Okay, and bots. Next up is bots. I personally use Streamlab chat bot that I listed. Oh, there. I listed over here. This is the one that I use. When you're just starting out, I recommend using the Nightbot. The reason for that is because it is browser-based. It is super easy to set up. You just moderate Nightbot in your chat. It's not super difficult to navigate at all. So I kind of recommend if you're just getting into the groove of streaming, use something really simple. No need to kind of like jump into all the fancy stuff that you might not be accustomed to and easily stress out just by setting it up. Bots are really useful. So basically what they do is they can pull up command for you by just typing in a very simple chat command. For example, if I type in !media, it's going to automatically pull up all of my social medias. And all of those can be customized. This is so that you don't have to constantly manually type in the answer to some commonly asked questions. So these are really important. Look into them. The reason why I highlighted the Streamlab CloudBot is because that is incorporated in Streamlab OBS. This is why I highly recommend using Streamlab OBS, because then you kind of negate the process of bots as well, because they're all built in one. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Obviously, you can go with other options that are a little bit simpler or just easier to navigate, but you can also kind of spend a little bit more time to research the differences between these bots. They're basically mostly the same. Okay, next up is overlay. I know I am unloading a bunch of stuff and I just realized we have spent so much time already talking about all these things, but so I'm so sorry. I'm just kind of flying through all of these information, but But like I said, I will definitely answer or do my best to answer all of your questions if you have any later on. But these are the overlay designs. So overlays are what goes on your stream. When I first started, this is what my my Twitch looks like. I would have my drawing software. Back then I was still using Photoshop. So I would have my software snap to one side, and then I had a panel where my webcam is. I kind of did like a designy little border. Oh, I can use my mouse. Why am I using my finger? And then I have the supporters and supporters as like people who donate to the stream on the screen as like a thank you, so that their names can be on there highlighted. And also back then when I was letting people request music, I would have the music name on there as well. So overlays is something that you should put a little bit of effort into designing. And the reason for that is because when a viewer comes into the categories, or they come into the directory, I should say, they come into a directory, all they have to judge whether or not they want to go into your stream is seeing a preview thumbnail of your stream. So and your entire overlay is going to be in a thumbnail size, basically, in the Twitch directory. So you will want to make sure that they're easily readable and attractive looking, so that people can feel, you know, engaged immediately, or just kind of, you know, that interests them, so they want to get into the stream. And then later on, I decided to change. And I incorporated a slideshow of my previous artwork. So I would have a slideshow of my work on the bottom corner, and then I would have my social medias on there, so that if people come in and they don't want to engage with chat at all, keep in mind that there are a lot of people like this. They just want to watch, they don't want to talk. It is kind of like a hidden rule to not call out your lurkers and be like, oh, hey, I see you there, what's up, when they haven't really engaged in the chat. So that's sort of like a bit of a no-no on Twitch. Even though like my very first viewer, I actually did that to him because I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, so it's good to have these social media information on your screen that's a little bit easier to access, where, you know, people's eyes would kind of gear towards. So that was my very second overlay change. That was way back in the days, man. And this is my very first traditional stream. I know, it's so pro, right? Like I didn't have a second camera even. So I didn't do traditional. I just stood up and I drew in the sketchbook while one hand holding my sketchbook, the other one drawing. It just aimed it towards the camera. That was my very first traditional art stream. But during that time, I had like a bar kind of running on the bottom with a donation goal, with all of my social medias on there, and also the recent supporters as well, and just a big camera. The second one over here is I wanted my art slideshow to be much bigger than just, you know, the little cube on the bottom in the past. So I decided to kind of make it bleed over my camera. So I designed all of my art to have them fit into this area, so that they would automatically switch slides, which is something that you can set up in your OBS. So that's an idea. If you have a lot of art you want to showcase and they're not necessarily on your screen, is to have them run in a slideshow kind of slowly, because if it runs too fast, it distracts people's attention and it makes it kind of difficult to engage with whatever else that's going on in the chat. So if you have slides on there, just make sure the slides switch over slowly. Actually, Melissa, how are we doing with time? Are we okay?
Yes, we're fine on time. You do have some questions that I think will
Okay.
be interesting to answer, but keep going.
Okay,
We're good.
perfect. I can pause a little bit after the section and then we can answer some and see how it goes. Thank you. All right, so we'll keep going. This is after I moved to the space that I am in right now. I have another overlay. I wanted to show this one because it's a good example if you have something special kind of going on for your stream. Is if you want to have like a special event, you can have the event name on your overlay because people don't read titles. People never read titles. Actually, people don't read anything really, but it's good to kind of have them just, running across your overlay, just so that it's easy to kind of see what's going on when people come in. Or if you're doing a series, it's good to kind of brand that series so that they have like a consistent logo throughout that particular series. For example, during that time, I was doing a critique Wednesday. So every Wednesday, I had people submit their art. I would crit, I would draw over them. So all of those streams had a consistent branding of this big title on the top, whereas the regular streams wouldn't have that. There was another thing that we were running at the time. It was a subscription goal. I do recommend overall, once you kind of start having a community going, it's good to set up goals so that people can have something that they're contributing towards, rather than just kind of something visible for people to help towards. Like, for example, if you want to upgrade your mic, it's good to have your goal there so that people know what you're trying to improve, and then when they help out, their contribution will be visible on your screen. So during that time, we were trying to unlock multiple emotes, which I'll get into very quickly. But we have the goal right there, and then we have the numbers up there as well, so people know how far or how close that they are towards the goal. And another overlay, so this one does not have a camera. This was my overlay for quiet streaming. Sometimes I just want to work. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to engage. I don't feel like smiling. So I go up there. I set the stream. Sometimes people just kind of want to watch you paint and see the progress. So I would have like a line of text that says, right now the stream is in work mode. I'm just here to work. I'm not here to chat, but I want to share my progress. So I kind of designed that as well. So I don't have my camera on. You can just have a full screen. But yeah, that's something that you can consider doing as well. And these are my two current ones. They have been with me for a long time, and honestly, right now I have settled so much into like the the old and jaded streamer mode that I don't really feel like changing it anymore. Maybe I will, who knows. But this is my traditional setup. As you can see, the camera will face this way. The camera will face this way, and then I have my traditional art on the table where my art camera will face downwards, and then that's my digital setup. So I realized, compared to in the past where my webcam was super small, during that time it was also due to the webcam that I was using back then having far lower resolution. But later on, I switched to bigger camera view because I realized, as a viewer myself, I like streamers having a bigger camera, so then I feel a little bit more engaged, or I feel more of a bond with the streamer as they're working on on their craft. And that's why I decided to kind of have the column dedicated to camera, so that in a really weird way, I feel a little bit closer to my audience. But obviously that's completely up to personal choice. I feel like I'm showcasing these because I'm showing you some ideas, and also kind of how to set up your overlays, what kind of information you want to have on there, and give you some ideas. But always pay attention to what kind of streams you're more geared towards, and try to learn from the streamer how they design their layouts. But yeah, right now I like having barely anything going on. I just like camera, my work, and the donation goals, and the people who have donated. I want their names on there as a thank you. So that's all I have. And other types of overlays. There are always like special events like Valentine's Day or Christmas, where you can dress up your stream a little bit. Draw some thing, just silly things or cute things or really beautiful things, and then put them over your stream overlay with a transparent background, so that they can go on top of everything that you have. This is one of my proudest work, and I just really wanted to showcase. And even though I'm doing this for Wacom, I did this with a mouse. I sometimes do my best art with a mouse, but a lot of people disagree with me. I just think they don't understand, but it's fine. But yeah, just kind of put some ideas into how you set things up, and kind of have fun with them. There is no right or wrong way to design your overlays. Just have fun. Okay, let me see. How about we answer a few questions? I'll answer 3 questions for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
perfect.
first one is from a Facebook viewer.
Okay.
Because we are live streaming on Facebook too.
Hello.
The viewer wanted to know, how important is it to show your camera versus your work? So in other words, do you really need to be broadcasting yourself as you draw, or can you just broadcast your drawing?
No, it's not important to broadcast yourself. I honestly would recommend that you be comfortable with the way that you want to stream. This I will actually go over a little bit more in my next session, is about finding your own groove on Twitch as a streamer. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people do feel that pressure to be on camera. You can always have a little mascot. I do think that most people right now want to feel a connection with a streamer, and it doesn't have to be your face. It can be anything else that would represent you in the place of a stream. You can indeed only showcase your work, but do keep in mind, and I want to be realistic about this, is that there is a high competition on Twitch, or on any platform really. There's a high competition. So if you only want to focus on your work has to truly stand out. If it doesn't, then you can have other ways to kind of dress up that stream, and that's sadly a bit of a reality of it if you want to grow an audience. If you just want to be there and hang out, then that's totally fine. Just do whatever you want. But if you do have the intention to grow, then be a little bit creative. In the place of your webcam, what do you want to put? There was a period of time where I was very anxious, and I was also not very happy. I didn't feel like putting on camera, but also I went on a long period of time of not wanting to put on camera. And I was nervous about that. So I drew, again, using MS Paint and a mouse, I drew a very ugly portrait of myself. It was like a Picasso, kind of like, I don't have that image. I should have showed it. But it was like in the place of my camera, I have that portrait there. And And it was just kind of funny because so many people comment on that. And that was weirdly elevating for me. So yeah, if you don't want to put your camera, that is completely fine, but still keep in mind to be creative with it.
Okay, next question. I'm going to wrap two questions in one. So
Okay.
you said three questions, so
Yes.
maybe this is it. So one person had a question about how to monetize Twitch. And then another person asked a similar question about monetization on Twitch and the taxes that are involved.
Okay.
She felt like she had heard from an art streamer that it was fairly complicated with taxes and perhaps not worth it.
Okay, I will actually go over that because that is in one of the slides that we're going to go over later on in the panel, but I do want to get into monetization. Taxes, I can't really answer because I'm in Canada, and in Canada it's even more complicated. So I actually just have everything calculated, and then I have the Twitch. So what they sent me is like a statement, and then I will report that correctly into our tax system. But I don't know how that works in the US, unfortunately. I don't know if you're from US, if you're asking that. But for us, because freelancers, we have so many different venues of income that I categorized Twitch as an outside income, which may not actually be accurate. So I have to, that is something that I really need to spend a little bit more time understanding. So far, I have not run into issue, not come close. But yeah, for US, I'm really not sure. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But yeah.
Do you want to answer the monetization question over the course of the rest of the webinar then?
Yes, I would do that. So I'll continue on.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much. I will do my best. I know I'm taking up a lot of your time, but I'll do my best to get to all of your questions at the end of the webinar. The next step is panels. On top of your overlays, overlays is what goes into your stream. Panels is what goes onto your About You section of your Twitch page. So this is the place people kind of, if you go on Twitch, you would notice that the Twitch live stream is above the section. So you will see the big live stream screen at where the panel words is. But the bottom part is these ones. These ones are really good for branding purposes. I do know that for me personally, whenever I want to check out an artist from another social media, if I realize, oh, they stream, that's cool. The first thing that I look at is the panels, if they're not streaming, especially. I want to see what kind of info I can get to know them, or I want to kind of see a snippet of their art. So these can be designed in any way that you want. And all of these images that you upload into the panel, they can be, they can have a hyperlink. So if people click on, for example, the tip jar, they will be linked to the donation page. If they click on the emotes, they will be able to link to the subscription page. Merchandise will link them to Redbubble, and also, merchandise will link to my Etsy store. But basically, put a little bit of thought into these sections, like how much info you want people to access when you're offline, or what kind of impression that you want to give to your viewers. So I like, this has nothing really looking like the art that I do, but also on my stream, I kind of don't really take myself seriously. So I like having memes. This is actually has gotten me a lot of grief with with my viewers, but I like putting some a bit more silly stuff in my stream because that's what I like to do, is sort of just have fun. But if you want it to have a more professional look, you can always put like snips of your art and then say about another of one of your art, and then say like social media or stuff like that. Right now, Twitch has a really nice incorporation of all the media links in this area, which they just introduced not very long ago. So you can put all of your links there, but you can also link them again in the panels if you so wish. So put a little bit of thoughts into this section because that kind of ties into you being an artist. That's the perk of being an artist, is you get to have fun with all of these. The next step is emotes and badges. Now, when you first start streaming, you're not going to have access to these, but I still want to touch up on emotes because they are part of your stream aesthetic. It's nice to start thinking about what you want to design, what your stream theme is going to be, like a consistent look of your stream, and then kind of put that into an effort of getting your viewers to unlock these emotes for the subscribers. Now, emotes are tied to subscription. So if one person subscribes to your channel, they will be able to use your emotes universally on Twitch, as well as Discord. So subscription is paid. They are $5 USD or $4.99 USD. You can also subscribe for free using Twitch Prime. If people have Amazon Prime, since Twitch is owned by Amazon, if people have Amazon Prime, they will be able to have one free subscription every single month that they can give to any channel that they want. And they will get the full perk. You will get the full amount that you're supposed to get from a regular subscription. So it is great for streamers to encourage your community to remember using Amazon Prime. Using the free subscription that comes with Amazon Prime. But basically emotes are, you can kind of see the usage of them. This is me typing my own chat and saying that I'm not late because I never am. It's just that no one believes me. So they will kind of show up in your chat as long as you type in a command, just like a smiley face, just like any emoticon. The sub badge are a little icon that shows up in front of your name, just this tiny one, and they can indicate how long somebody has subscribed to your channel. If it's 1 month, then it's like a patched up bear for me. 3 months, it's a regular bear. 6 months, it's a gummy bear, etc., etc., etc. But these are all fully customizable. You can kind of think of a theme that you want your stream to have, and then kind of put effort into designing those for your channel. That being said, not everybody has access to emotes. Emotes need to be unlocked by having subscription. So we're gonna get into that. I am a partner streamer. I have 20 emotes at the moment, but if you're just starting to stream, you will have to be an affiliate first. Twitch affiliation is something that they introduced a few years ago. This is for, in the past, when Twitch first started, the only way to monetize your content was to become a partner, a Twitch partner. But as Twitch started to grow larger and larger and larger, partnership become much harder to obtain. Like, for example, I am a Twitch partner, but at the same time, if I was to apply for Twitch partnership right now with my numbers, I'm definitely not gonna be approved as a partner. So they introduced something else called Twitch affiliation to bridge that gap. And basically, to achieve affiliation status, you need to fulfill the following requirements. Like you have to have 500 minutes in the last 30 days. You have to stream 7 unique broadcast days. You have to have an average of 3 concurrent viewers. And then you have to have at least 50 followers. Basically, this is very easy to obtain. It's not difficult as long as you stream regularly. Stream regularly and just kind of have fun with your own content and not worry too much about, pardon me. Sorry, I just realized I have not drank water in 2 hours. So these are relatively low requirement to become affiliated with Twitch. And once you become an affiliate, you will gain the following perks. When you first start, you will have no access to subscriptions, to game sales. We don't need to go into the game sales, but you will not have subscriptions, or you cannot have your the channel badge either. You cannot really customize your chat all that much when you're just first starting out. So, but I would still want you to kind of keep in mind and to know those things are available to you, because if you stream regularly, chances are you will become a Twitch affiliate. What they do is they will send you, they have like a path to affiliation achievement kind of page. Once you've checked all of the requirements, you will receive an automated email that tells you you have been invited to enroll in an affiliation program. Do you want to accept? And then you accept. So that's when the first bit of monetization kind of come in. So once you become a Twitch affiliation, you will have a monetization tool. And then you will have people can cheer with bits, which is the in-platform currency on Twitch. We call it bits. $1 equals to 100 bits. So when people kind of give you bits, you get $1. And so that's kind of like one of the transactions that's available to you once you become affiliate. And then you can start to design your first emote. You will automatically get 1 emote slot as soon as you become a Twitch affiliate. You can unlock more, up to 5, once you have subscriber points. So however many people sub to you, I won't really go into the details of subscriber points, but basically one tier 1 subscription equals to 1 point. Tier 2 equals to, I don't remember. But anyway, higher the tier, the more points you get. But once you get enough subscriber points, then you can unlock more emotes along the way. This is why I wanted to kind of focus on the fact that you can plan ahead what kind of emotes you want people to unlock, give people a goal, and say, hey, like guys, if we hit 25 sub points, you can unlock this email that you might really like to use. So give people an incentive to help you achieve that goal. So I recommend designing an emote before you hit the goal, so that people can have something to look forward to. But that's up to personal choice. And then also, you will get to store your VOD. So once you finish streaming, all of your streaming content is actually archived on Twitch. For affiliates, it's up to 14 days. So after 14 days, these uploaded or recorded archives, they will disappear. If you're a partner, then you get 60 days. And let's see, what are the differences? So payout. there are two things regarding payout. When you are an affiliate, you have to accumulate $100 in your Twitch bank before they pay it out. So you have to hit $100 and then they will send the money to you. For affiliation, you have to pay for the transaction fee, like it will be deducted in that transaction, but then you will still get the rest of the money into your bank account, or however you wish to receive the payout. The other thing is payout time frame. For affiliation, they're accumulated every 60 days. You can get the money faster if you're a partner, but the 60 days is the normal time where you receive your paycheck. If you accumulate the amount of requirements, like minimum $100, 60 days, they pay it out to you. So the payout fees covered by affiliates, and Twitch partner, they're covered by Twitch. I am probably going to talk more about becoming a Twitch partner in my next session, because that is going to tie in very heavily with mental health and being happy on Twitch. But it's not something that I recommend anybody to focus on right now. If your purpose is to get into streaming, just focus on being a Twitch affiliate. But yeah, those are the emotes. Okay, exposure. So if you want to grow your Twitch streams on Twitch using the regular ways, there are a few ways to do that. You can join a stream team. So there are many really great stream team that kind of focus on, you know, engagement and also helping streamers out, like helping each other out with raids and hosts and stuff like that. So once you kind of get comfortable with streaming environment, you can always apply for a stream team. Look for one that you'd like. Or, you know, if there are other streamers that you really admire and they're part of a particular stream team, ask if you can join them. But stream team is a great way to kind of bring streamers together and then kind of introduce them to different viewers. Categories and tags. Make sure you stream under the relevant category. Like if you're doing art, stream under art. If you're kind of just chatting, like talking a lot and not really doing art, or you don't plan to do art, you just want to engage with the community, stream under just chatting. Spend a little bit more time into looking at the categories. If you're playing games, then stream under games. That being said, if you're doing a fan art of a particular video game, you are actually allowed to stream under that video game category. So for example, if you're doing fan art of Teamfight Tactics, League of Legends, you can stream under the League of Legends category. That may help you or that will hurt you. It's up to your personal experience, but you know, experiment with different categories and tags. Tags are what's relevant in your stream. So for example, my tags will be traditional art, digital art, illustration, painting, drawing. So these are my tags. You can use up to 5. Rates and hosts are what you can do after a stream. So usually once a streamer wraps up a stream, they will use the rate button to bring their viewers to another streamer that is currently live. So, and then the viewers, they will see like a little prompt of, we're about to raid this streamer, do you want to join? And then if they hit join, they will be automatically transferred to the next streamer who is still live once this current streamer goes offline. So raids and hosts are one of the major things on Twitch that kind of brings attention around to streamers, to different streamers. If it's also one of a great way for streamers to kind of get to know each other. Unfortunately, for me, after streaming on Twitch for so long, I personally realized that this phenomenon kind of makes me more anxious than it helped me. So I turned it off. But this portion I will cover in the next session. I highly recommend, if you're just starting out, you should do this. And you should let other people, you should just get to know other streamers. Okay, so monetization. Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm going way over time. I really indeed apologize. And for those who are sticking around, thank you so much. I know it's a lot of information. I tried to condense it, but it's a little bit difficult. I just have so much I want to talk about. But for monetization, first of all, a subscriber is a really big thing. Once you become affiliated, people can subscribe to you. When they subscribe to you tier 1, which is $5, you will get 50% of that, so $250. There's no cost. There's no extra cost in that. It's just that when you're affiliate, when the money gets taken out, you pay the transaction fee. There is, so subscriber actually makes quite a bit of income once they kind of start rolling, because there are many ways, such as like subathon, which people do a lot. They would have like however many subs, I'll stream for a little bit longer. Like for example, each sub I'll stream for 10 minutes longer. So kind of using that way to build up hype, to build up anticipation, to extend the stream, therefore giving you more chances for subscribers to come in. Another thing is obviously like offering perks. For example, for me, for my subscriber, they have access to my non-safe for work stuff, my non-safe for work sketchbook, that I don't show anywhere else. So that is something that I made very clear. I only share it with my subscribers, but at the same time, it's a perk, not like something that I'm obligated to give. So there's a lot of ways to kind of engage with your subs, to kind of as a way to say thank you for, you know, supporting me. Here's a bit of an extra content for you. Gift subs is another huge one. So people can actually buy someone else's subscription to channel. I actually am super thankful for a lot of my regulars. Sometimes they want to welcome another new viewer who is engaging with the community and kind of, you know, having fun. They're really participating. They enjoy the stream. And then one of my regulars, they are just being really kind, and then they would gift these new viewers a subscription, and that money goes towards you as well. So there are just many ways to kind of, you need to brainstorm a little bit to see how you can make this a viable or a stable income for yourself. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer, really. There are obviously ways when people start to feel really entitled to people, you know, supporting them, then obviously that can backfire for them quite a bit. But September is another really, really, really great one. That happens in September, surprise. But September is basically when all of the subscriptions are at a discount. So instead of $5, they can probably sub to your channel for $250, and that all of that profit will go towards the streamer, and Twitch won't take anything. So September, so funny to say, is one of the ways that people kind of rack up really, really high subscription count during that time. So if you combine September with like gift subs, subathon, or if you combine that with like let's unlock this email, let's unlock this giveaway, then that can kind of really build up. Similarly, bits is another really great thing. So like I said before, bits is an currency that's built into Twitch. So what happens is the viewers, they will purchase bits with real money, and then they can kind of just give that bits however they see fit into different channels, however much they want. It can go down to cents. So 100 bits is $1, so 1 bit is 1 cent. The great thing about bits is that it's so impulsive, unlike donations where people are like, oh, I'm giving out $20 right now, versus, oh, I already bought like $50 worth of bits, I don't know how long ago, here, let's give you some. It's like a really interesting psychological difference between the two. So bit is a lot more impulsive, because they can be initiated in chat. They just type in cheer 100, that will immediately deposit 100 bits into your account. So it's all activated by chat. Hence the impulsive nature of it. They're just like typing, here, money. So yeah, a lot of people kind of have bid goal separated from their donation goal. I myself, I have two separate ones. One is calculating bits, the other one is calculating donation. So my bit goal will unlock a giveaway, whereas my donation goal would contribute towards my investment in other art supplies. So there are two different things for me. So that's also one thing that you can kind of keep in mind. Same thing goes to donation. Donation, you will have to set up with PayPal or other service. I'm actually not too sure what others there are, but mine is linked to PayPal. So whenever people donate, it would automatically deposit into my PayPal account. And you can just set up your overlay or your bot to display, for example, I have a $200 donation goal. Whenever people donate to it, it actually shows up live how much the bar is filled. So if you can come up with really creative ways to make people feel good about supporting you, and kind of thank them for their generosity, then it can really start to gather some attention. Now, I don't really recommend focusing too much on monetization. If you're just starting out, a lot of people tend to be put off by it. They're thinking like, oh, you haven't really contributed to anything like on this platform and you're already asking for money. That happens a lot. So public perception is also something that I would recommend that you keep in mind as well. So when you're first starting out, don't focus too much on whether or not people will help with your streams, but just kind of focus on finding the direction of your stream, which again, we'll talk about a little bit more in the next session. Okay, next up, bands. So sorry, we're almost to the end, almost. TOS and bands, don't draw nipples. It's not that hard. It's very easy to avoid drawing nipples. There are a lot of other things that you can be drawing. So honestly, Twitch is really question mark when it comes to banning people. Sometimes you can get hate, or you can get people who just want to take you down and they report you falsely, and then Twitch wouldn't really monitor that. But if you get mass reported, you can get banned for like 24 hours or stuff like that. And then when I realize they make a mistake and they want to restore it, and they basically won't really give you any explanation. I guess in a way it's also to protect their own platform. But it doesn't happen all that often. It's just a thing that happens. So don't draw anything that's that will suggest sexually, don't draw nudity, and there is a fine line between kind of like sexuality and also doing anatomy study on Twitch, but generally just try avoid doing that. Another thing is, if you have trolls in your chat, if you ban them, they are IP banned, which is really great because most of the trolls or most of the people who want to harass you, they're really kind of like not smart enough to have, or they don't really bother enough to have multiple IPs set up for themselves. So once one IP is banned, they cannot set up another account to troll you again. That is something that they recently introduced. So if there's any kind of hate, there is any kind of harassment that's happening, just just and not worry about them. And aside from banning, which is that you can't stream from Twitch, there is also music. That being said, music is actually not that severe. If you want to play copyrighted music, you can. It's just that your archived VOD, archived stream is going to be muted for that portion of the copyrighted music that's been detected. So if you don't really care about that, play whatever music that you want. You're not going to get into trouble for it. Now, if you're doing some tutorials, if you want to do some classes, do some critiques, or you're talking about something important where you feel like people will want to revisit, or you want to link that, it is really important to not play copyrighted music during that time, or just don't play music at all, so that once you access that content, it's not going to be muted. I personally play music from Cafe BGM, which is really amazing. I pay a subscription fee because I think they do really fantastic work. So I have access to all of their music. They kind of upload their stuff to YouTube for people to kind of do their studies, kind of like the lo-fi stuff. But I wanted to support them, so I pay for their subscription stuff. And I play them on Tuesdays and Fridays, where I kind of supposedly am working. And Saturdays, I let people request their music through the bot. So Saturday, usually my VODs will be muted portionally because of the music that people are requesting. Last one. Oh my God. I feel like I'm on a marathon here. Hold on. Moderators. Moderators are such an important presence in Twitch. Like basically every kind of live stream situation. Moderators are the ones that will have the green sword icon in front of their names. As you can see, like I had that little snippet of the chat preview on one of the slides. Moderators are the ones that are going to have a green sword in front of their name. They are the ones that can be in charge of banning people. They are the ones that can control your chat activity. They can put them on slow mode. They can put them on emo only mode. Moderators are those who will help moderate your chat. They can also be upgraded to editors. Editors have power to access your dashboard. So I actually gave all of my moderators editors ability so that they can change my titles, they can change my category when I'm doing other stuff. And honestly, here I kind of actually want to give a special shout out to my moderator who has been working so hard for my content, and also just caring about my well-being. But Zaref has been doing an amazing job. He kind of starts from the beginning to the end of all of my streams, and it changes my categories, changes my title. If I want to do something else, like I want to be painting and I want to go into you know, playing Animal Crossing, he does all of the titles and category changes for me. And aside from that, I also have Kira, who helped me a lot, and Nikki, Giselle, and Kieran, in a lot of the mods that they kind of come and go, because honestly, it's hard to stick with somebody for so many years. You know, people's life change. They, you know, they sometimes can invest a lot, sometimes they cannot. But basically, moderators are seen as a very important role to any kind of Twitch streams. They kind of set the mood, because they just naturally stand out, right? Like having that icon, and you know that they kind of have the power over you. But this leads to another really important issue, and I really want to stress on this. If you're first starting out, do not moderate anybody. Don't mod anybody you don't know really all that well, and they just come to your stream every day. Like, don't mod them. This is speaking from, I wouldn't say speaking from personal experience, but from me witnessing so much that has happened with issues with moderators, because moderators have so much control over your stream. And if you're not accustomed to internet life, you may appear to be kind of clueless. You may want help from others. They will jump in to help you. And then slowly they will want more power. So there are a lot of predatorial behaviors in terms of people prying on smaller streamers, or people who are just kind of like new to the scene, and you're a little bit more naive, then you get targeted a little bit more. I highly recommend don't moderate anybody to avoid that issue. Another perk is it's good to learn these bots your own. Learn how to navigate everything. Learn how to add commands, learn how to ban people, because even once you have really good moderator, they might not always be there. So if you don't know how to do anything on your own channel and your moderator is not there, and then somebody wants to troll you, and then you want to take control of those situations, you don't know how, that's always a little bit of a downside. So try to get yourself accustomed to the situation, to how everything works, instead of having to rely on another person too much. But really, I always worry about people who take advantage of smaller streamers, and they get really power hungry, and they start to eliminate people they don't like. It's not even people that are affecting the streamer, but it's just people they don't like, people they feel like are, you know, they're territorial. I've witnessed this happen so many times. I've also witnessed moderators who are very rude to other viewers. This is why I encourage people to get to know your moderators a little bit more, like understand how they speak, understand their personality, and also they have to be somebody that you have to be comfortable communicating with. If they're doing something that you feel like are affecting your streams, you need to be able to communicate with them, and then they have to be receptive, and also, you know, give you fair feedback if you're doing something that's hurting your own stream. So basically, these kind of relationships, they take time to build, and this is why I encourage for people, it might be very tempting to mod somebody early on, just because then you kind of feel like you have a little squad, but to avoid having these issues down the road, always get to know these people really well before you decide to mod them. But yeah, I feel like I've covered everything. Wow, that went far longer than I anticipated. I'm so sorry, but Melissa, if you have questions for me, I'll try to answer them.
Well, okay, Sarajean. So we do have you for another session on Thursday. And some of the questions I have the feeling you'll answer in that other one. Some of them are around, how do you keep going when you're streaming, whether or not you engage with people during your stream.
Mm-hmm.
Are those topics that you're going to cover on Thursday?
Yes, I am. But the short answer is yes, I engage a lot with my chat, actually. So much to a point where I sometimes don't really get any work done. There are days where I'm literally 20 minutes behind chat because I'm trying to answer everybody's question. So yeah, I absolutely do engage with chat. If you guys do have a lot of in-depth question which we cannot answer due to time, feel free to join me. I will be streaming on Friday, and you can ask me a lot more question there as well. But yes, I do engage with chat.
Okay, one last question, Sarajean, and then we'll let you go and drink some hot tea and some more water. We'll let you hydrate.
Okay, perfect.
This is from Brenda, and she says, do you suggest running your social media in English or in your native language? Mine is Spanish. Is there more chance for people to watch you if it's in English?
That is a really good question, actually. As a matter of fact, I actually have not really thought of it. Oh, that's a lie. I have indeed thought of it. My native language is Mandarin. There is a really massive audience actually in Taiwan and also China. But I run all of my social medias exclusively in English. I don't have Mandarin support in my chat, which is something that I thought about doing. But I decided kind of against it just because I feel like I have too little energy, or I always kind of fear dividing my attention too much, and kind of switching between two languages sometimes is a little bit challenging for me. But I actually do speak Mandarin from time to time on my channel. I do think that is very beneficial to be bilingual, because then you can access to audience. I love the social media posts where Spanish artists, they would have a Spanish portion, but that they would also have an English explanation. I feel like English is far more accessible for most of the people because it's more universal. Like people from Taiwan, like myself, I speak English. A lot of people in Germany, they speak English. Actually, most of my moderators are from Europe. I have a lot of German friends. So the fact that if I spoke in Mandarin, they would not be able to understand me. But if I speak English, we can communicate fine. However, there are also plenty of people in Taiwan that cannot speak English. So if I can incorporate that into my social media post, I can also toggle that audience. So if you're capable and if you have the energy to have your content available in both languages, I do think it's a perk. I don't think it would hurt you. No, hopefully that helps.
That was good. Thank you. So we will see you again on Thursday here at noon. And you are going to talk a little bit about kind of your mental state and your mindset for streaming. Yes.
So for Thursday session, it's actually going to, hopefully on the Thursday session, I can spend far more time in terms of answering your questions. I will spend some time to talk about my my journey as a streamer. Interestingly enough, when I first got the invite from Melissa to host the session for you, initially I thought about turning it down and passing it to a streamer that I personally feel is much more competent. But I realized I actually have quite an interesting journey or experience as a streamer that I really feel passionate about sharing with an audience, because as a streamer, you're going to face a lot of challenges, and a lot of it is going to be heavy mental doubt, because aside from just posting your art, this is you as a person. When you're streaming, you're putting yourself out there. You probably will take every criticism very personally, because it's not just your art, it's also your personality. It's whether you're not funny or not, it's whether or not you're funny. It's sometimes even like maybe people are anxious about their looks, as well. It's a lot of things kind of on top of it. And I have a really odd way of approaching Twitch now, where I purposely limit my growth, and there is a reason for that, and I want to talk about that on my Thursday session. So you guys are very free to come in and check it out, and if you have any concern, or if you have any questions regarding like streamer mental health, and also how to tackle social medias, and how to not feel insecure, or how to even turn your weaknesses into your strength, feel free to join us on Thursday. I'll try to cover all of that.
Well, we are excited to see you again. And for everybody who's still here, which is almost everybody who registered, we will share this on YouTube. We're going to send everybody an email with a link to this presentation so everybody can go through and copy all of the equipment that you have purchased and experienced, and also take copious notes of what you said too.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Sarajean. We will see you on Thursday.
Thank you guys so much for your time, and I will see you on Thursday. Thank you so much, Melissa, for your host, and I will give the screen share back to you.
Okay, thanks, Sarajean.
There we go.